Cube 2, Hypercube. How does it compare to the original movie? Not very well. Once again, we have several strangers that wake up in this cube and don't know how they got there, why they're there. Mind you, some of them obviously, again, are lying because in this movie, most of the characters are actually somehow involved with the cube. Not like in part one. In the first one, only one person had something to do with the cube. Everyone else was just there out of pure mystery. In this one, almost every character is somehow attached to the cube. The cube itself has had some major upgrades, it seems like, because instead of these amazing death traps, booby traps, whatever you want to call them, we are now dealing with quantum time travel, alternate dimensions, and also other versions of yourself that you can bump into in the cube, and it's just an absolute tripped out mess. It's a very trippy movie. It's tripped out to the max, and I was actually enjoying it to begin with until I realized that whoever has most control over this movie is just doing whatever the hell they want, throwing things in there that just do not make sense at all. Instead of clever booby traps, we now have one psychopath who's in this cube, and he's a psychopath from the very start, but somehow the other characters don't pick up on this, even though he's got a knife and threatens people the whole time. He just goes crazier and crazier and crazier. In part one, the hero or the leader is the one that kind of slowly broke down mentally and kind of just transitioned into insanity and paranoia and kind of went crazy and became a psychopath that way. But it was clever how in the beginning he was the hero, he was the leader of the group, and he was calm and calling the shots, and then slowly just kind of broke down into insanity. That was great. This just seems poorly written. It's just like every character is just so bland and stupid, and there's nothing clever about them. It's just what you see is what you get. And it really feels rushed to me. The script, the writing, all seems absolutely rushed. I mentioned there are no booby traps. You got quantum time travel. Most of the time it's the psychopath doing the killing. However, we are treated to one scene where there's like a misty type, fluidy looking substance that comes through the wall and will kill you in a manner of kind of like super aging. Or there was a handcuffed man that had his feet touched by this mysterious wave of some kind and just evaporated into nothing. All of the life was just kind of sucked out of him. So I don't know if it causes just rapid aging or breaks down your skin completely and just sucks out all of the life and the goodness, the nutrients out of your body. Several times in the film, the characters come across themselves dead and actually see themselves dead. However, we don't know what is actually going on. The perception was that this was the future. However, it can't be the future because a lot of the characters die in different ways rather than what we actually see in this so-called future. Then there's also some random three-dimensional object that just appears out of nowhere for some unknown reason, flies around the room, kills one of the characters, and then just disappears again. Why? What the hell was it? Nothing. This movie just makes no sense at any time whatsoever. It looks like they just threw in anything they could think of because they could, and they didn't care about what sense it makes or not. There's even one part of the film, the psychopath appears to have lived in the cube for at least a decade. He's clearly aged, and one must wonder, why does time affect this person differently than everybody else in the cube? Why? The first cube didn't exactly make a hell of a lot of sense either, but they made it a clever mystery. The prisoners were in this claustrophobic environment or prison, trapped, trying to get out of there, trying to figure out the numbered codes to each room to figure out which one's booby-trapped, which one isn't. They never knew why they're there, what's happening on the outside of the cube, and that's fine. Like, it works that way. I don't mind if a movie is mostly left to viewer interpretation as long as it's done right. A lot of movies do it right. A lot of movies really screw it up. This one screws things up big time. We do find out a lot more about the cube and its origin. So there's a company called Eyes On who's developed this cube, possibly for the military or for some sort of secret organization or something like that. And several employees from Eyes On are actually inside this cube, which is why I said most people somehow are connected to the cube. So if the owners of the company of Eyes On want these certain people dead for whatever reason, why not kill them? Why go to the trouble of putting them in this cube just so they can die? It just makes no sense at all. At the very end, we also see a lot more of the outside. We see the people that are driving the cube from the outside. But again, it doesn't really explain why or what the hell is going on. We just know Izon is a company that created, or they're running the cube for whatever reason, and we also see some of the outside in this. In the first movie, I appreciate that they didn't show the outside. I believe the director originally had a scene where he showed the outside but realized it ruined the film, so he left that out. I think it was perfect. You know, the first film was perfect for the movie that it was and the budget that it was made on. It was everything that this movie isn't. However, I am happy that the Cube universe has expanded and we've got more movies to watch. Like, I can't complain. However, they just should have taken a bit more time, thought about this one a little bit more before they made it, because it just makes no sense at any time. Fair enough, the cube has to be a mysterious type prison, but this is just beyond ridiculous. It just doesn't make sense at all. There are so many plot holes, it's not funny. And in the end, we're still left scratching our heads, not even knowing what the hell we actually watched. There's even a sex scene in this movie where the people that have sex actually end up floating around the tube dead, like the life has been sucked out of them. We don't even see exactly how they died mid-sex. It's very funny. They're floating around in this room that supposedly has no gravity. The life has been sucked out of them and they're still stuck together in a sexual position. It's just like, seriously guys, couldn't you think of something better? You know, the opening scene. In the first movie, we see, I believe it was a professor or an old man that wakes up in the cube and he triggers a booby trap, and the booby trap is some sort of like big cage-like apparatus that swings and pretty much slices him into a million little cubes, and you slowly see all the little bits on his face and on his body start dripping in blood, and then all of a sudden all of the cubes just begin to drop to the floor. It was gruesome, it was gory, it was an amazing opening. How did this movie open? This character just gets sucked up in the air and that's it. It's like, come on, put a little bit more effort and let's get a bit of attention to detail in the thought process. All in all, at least the Cube universe, at least they tried. You know, the Cube universe has continued, and I've still got a prequel to watch, Cube 3 or Cube 0, I believe it's called. I'll definitely be checking out in the coming week or so, and I'll definitely be doing a review on that because I want to do the entire series. And as always, I have to rate my movies so everybody has a rough idea what the movie is like. I hate watching movie reviews where people don't give it some sort of rating. I have a unique rating system here because I'm Bannock 13. I rank all of my movies out of 13. So on a scale of 0 to 13, Cube 2, Hypercube gets a 3, only because I'm happy that the Cube universe has expanded to some more films. I have to appreciate the fact that it tried to do something different. You know, if it had the same kind of booby traps and death traps as the first movie, it would have just been a glorified remake. It would have been way too similar. So I'm glad that they tried to go with something different. However, I don't think it worked. It just made no sense. They just did anything that they wanted to without really thinking about it very well. And to say the least, it was entertaining. Even though it's so bad, I was entertained at times, so it doesn't get a complete ridicule of a score with 0. It gets a 3. So if you're a fan of the first movie, check this one out. I guarantee you won't like it much better than the first one, and you will be confused and scratching your head. It is a tripped out film. Enjoy if you must. I will be back with the Cube 0 review.